CBR1000 Fireblade front brake disc replacement. Why am I hitting it with a hammer? There's two reasons. The first reason is it helps to break the lock that the Loctite has on there. Makes it a bit easier to remove the bolts. The second is it flattens the head of the bolt out a little bit and makes it easier to get a good grip with the Allen key. It's the same reason I give the Allen key a bit of a tap like that, just as it's going in there, to make sure that I get a good seat. I'm not going to do any damage. Undo them 1/2 turn, maybe a turn. You're just breaking the grip a little bit. I don't like to use any kind of power tools on this. I'll use the smallest bar I can get away with, just to make sure that everything is good. I can feel what's happening a little bit. I don't like to use heat if I can avoid it, because I don't know how old the hub is. I don't know what the temper is like. You're also pretty close to seals and bearings and stuff. If you are going to use heat the bolt up directly. Don't heat the hub. And once you've got them broken free, I like to use the smallest wrench that I can to undo them. That way I can feel if anything is being damaged, if anything is binding. Makes it a lot easier to keep track of whether anything is getting damaged. That's a little 1/4 inch ratchet. That bolt there was a little bit tight, and it's just a bit of excess Loctite. People tend to use a bit too much. You don't need very much at all. When you're doing the job itself, just take your time. Don't rush it. I don't use any power tools, because you can't feel anything that's going on. You just strip heads out of stuff. Same thing when you're doing them up. Always do them up by hand. Don't use power tools, rattle guns or anything like that. Just take it slow and take it easy. With this one, you can see that it's really quite tight. I've left it and gone on to the other one. It didn't feel particularly good. I'll use a slightly bigger tool and see how it goes with that one. So I went back to the breaker bar, but I'm not using a lot of force. You can see I'm just gently turning it around. It didn't feel like it was damaged to the thread, just too much thread lock on it. So just wind it out nice and steady. Don't force it. And then once I got it out, I was able to have a look at it and see what the thread was like, and it was fine. I like to give the disc a bit of a spin before you take it off. It just lets you knock any burrs, any excess off. The little cut seen just then, I also wandered off and wire wheeled all of the bolts. Quick sanity check to make sure that the disc is right. I also went with a thread repair die and just cleaned out the bolt holes to make sure that they were clean. There wasn't any damage in there. You don't need a lot of Loctite. I'm probably going to do a video very soon about how to use Loctite properly. You just need one line down the length of the bolt. That's it. You don't have to drown the whole end of it. If you use too much, it actually stops the Loctite from working properly. It doesn't cure the way it should do. Henkel, the guys that make original Loctite, actually have a training set up online that you can go and have a look at, and it goes through the different types of Loctite, what they do, how to use them, the right amounts of product for each application. So when I'm doing them up, again, I don't use power tools. I'm not using anything very big. I'm just going to use a short 3/8 ratchet. This was the one that was tight to begin with, so it's all been cleaned out, but there's still a little bit of resistance there. It's nothing bad, and you can see that I'm not using a lot of pressure. All I'm doing is doing them up until they just bottom out, and we'll do torque on them in a minute. Do every second bolt in a triangle, so it's a bit of a crisscross pattern. And then when you've done the third one up, this one's coming up to be tightened up now. When you do the third one up, jump directly opposite and then do the 3 up again, another triangle. That way you're not putting any undue pressure on any particular corner. It's not such a big deal with floating discs, but solid discs, you want to be careful not to tighten them up off square, because you can buckle the disc, warp the disc quite easily. Floating discs are a little more forgiving. And once you've got them done up, just take it barely touching, so the bolts are just touching off there. I don't know what the hell I'm doing there. I'm probably switching cameras off or something, who knows. But once you've got them tightened up, switch out to a torque wrench, because remember kids, if you're not using a torque wrench, you're not doing it right. Again, crisscross pattern, take it up to torque, go 2 bolts, take it up, switch across 2 bolts again, and then go opposite and do the same thing. There's not a lot really to this. It's a fairly simple process. We'll make sure you clean everything really well once you're done. Once I've done them all up to basic torque, I then just go through each bolt again, and I just start opposite me and just work my way down. You don't have to do every second one now. You just want to make sure that you haven't missed anything. This is purely to check that nothing's been missed, you haven't left anything loose, and then you're done. So come on down to Skinny's, we'll have a look at your brakes for you and see if there's anything needs doing. Other than that, we'll see you next time. Bye.